Hi, so let's get started with where we had left in yesterday, where we had left in the previous tutorial. So let's go back to this and let's do pencil sketch 2. So if we run this, so this is where we were. So basically we have, this is where we had left yesterday. I would leave it as it is, and as we implement this, we are going to look at each of the change we would be doing. So one function I need is pencil sketch, and for pencil sketch, before we start implementing, let's look at the algorithm, what we would be implementing here. So the first thing is pencil sketch needs an input image. So let's basically call it input image, and inside this image, this would be the algo. We need to convert our input image from BGR, which is blue, green and red, to gray. And to do this, we will use a function. So that specific function would be called, let's basically call it gray image. And the function we would be using is, this is an OpenCV, so cv2 dot cvt color, color, and inside this, the first input would be our input image, and the next thing would be cv2 dot color and underscore and bgr, what we discussed there, to in uppercase gray. So this basically will convert our input image to the gray image, and after we do this, we have to after we do this inversion, the next step would be to invert our image, invert our gray image. And how do we do this? So let's call this invert image, and for this basically cv2 dot bitwise underscore not, and for this we have to provide the gray image as the input. So all this function is basically doing is one action, which would be 255 minus the gray image. That's all this is actually doing, and you can look this up, basically how images bitwise operations are done on images. Since that is not in the scope of this course, I won't be going in more detail. I'm just giving you the brief algorithm how to implement this. And the next thing we need to do is basically blur the image using a Gaussian function, and let's call blur underscore image. And how do we do this? So for blur, there is a function called cv2 dot Gaussian blur, and the parameter here would be the inverted image, and the other two parameters we need here is the kernel. So the kernel we'll be using here is 2727. So the kernel values we need to use here are 2121. So let's say we are using 21, 21, and we need the sigma x and sigma y, which are the two sigmoid functions. So sigma x equals 0 and sigma y equal to 0. So these are the two parameters we do need, and just to make sure sigma is all lowercase, and X and Y are capital letters. And after we do this, the last action we need to do is suit the image, and for this we would be using something called dodge division is the function. So dodge division is what we would be using, and since we will be calling that function, let me implement what dodge v2 is here, and this would basically accept X and Y as the input, which are two images, and what this would return is return cv2 dot divide. If you don't want to do this, you can actually do it inline, but since this is one of the standard ways of doing it, I'm just following it, and let me know. You can try it out in place too, so it's not that you have to do it my way alone. It's something you can do it, but this is the standard algorithm that is used to convert this. So after this, so let's basically call this pencil sketch image is what I'm calling this, and we are calling it dodge v2. I'm not using any this one here. So here the two images I need are, one is my gray image, which I'm passing as an input, and the other one is the blur image which we generated here. So these are the two images that are going there, and once this is done, we will just return our pencil sketch. So we are now returning the pencil sketch, and just to make sure everything's good, let me just refresh this. If there are no syntax errors, which is good thing. So now let's go back to here, and okay, so let me do else if option, which is what the user might enter. So if option equal to, so let me call this pencil sketch. Yeah, if the user input option is pencil sketch, then what do we need to do? Okay, so here the first thing we need would be something called input image. So input image equal to, so we are using something called image dot open, and it would be a file image. So to make use of image, we need another library. So let's do from PIL import image. So we are making use of this new library here, so that's why we are initializing that library on the top. And once we do this, so after this, let's say the next thing we need to do is, so let's say my final sketch would be equal to pencil sketch, and would I call pencil sketch directly, or we need to do anything? So yeah, we'll call pencil sketch, and we'll do np dot array of our input image. And when we do this, one more thing that needs to be done, since we are doing np array, so basically we need to do import numpy as np. That would be the next thing we need to do. And after we are done with this, we now have this one, So let's do st.image, and here let's call this star 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 star, and here let's call this input image. And to display it is pretty straightforward, so we might have some indentation issue here. I'm not sure. I'm just doing this just to avoid that. And okay, and after this is st.image. Okay, so yeah, this one should be st.write or st.txt. It should not be st.image. So I now have image here, and similarly copy these two lines, and one will be our output image. Instead of output, let's call it pencil sketch image, and this one will be the final sketch. And now we will just view this, and after this looks good, eventually in the let's write the download button later on, that's going to be a separate function, so let's not club this under this. Okay, so here is which line is this? Line 28. Okay. Okay, so this looks like some indentation issue. So let me see the indentation issue that was there. Okay, so this should now work here, and I'm taking one example, and we now have our pencil image that's now visible. So it's exactly the same code we just discussed. And after this, it was just some indentation stuff, so I would be attaching this. In the next part, we will write one of the Instagram filter functions. You can go ahead and adding more of them, and I would also mention the image download in the next video. Thank you.